So it is full time in the Chelsea versus Bayern Munich game, pre-season games. That's our second pre-season that's been televised, done. Not as good as the first, we've got to be honest here, but the second half performance was promising. Big talking points, which we'll get into a little bit later, but it was 3-2 that Bayern Munich ended up winning. They were about 3-0 up after about, I think, 26 minutes. 2 goals from Müller and one by Rafinha, who actually started things off with the goal. And then the second half, well, just at the end of the first half, Alonso with a great finish. And then right towards the end, Michy Batshuayi got one, and we pushed for that equaliser right at the end, but just couldn't get it. We saw Morata play. We're talking a little bit more about him in a minute. But I just thought in the first half, we started okay. The first couple of minutes, we started very well. Looked like we had that energy and that intensity, again, a bit like the Arsenal game. And then Bayern started to just take control. The Rafinha goal kind of came out of nowhere, if we're being honest. Cahill backing off. I don't know what it is with our players, our defenders. They just seem to back off all the frigging time. They never engage. I know you shouldn't always engage and just dive in, but you shouldn't just constantly back off. There's got to be a point where you engage, and I don't understand why this team and our defenders find it so hard to fucking just engage with the ball. I don't know if it's because we're concerned that we're fucking... I honestly don't know why it is. It just pisses me fucking off. It really, really does. It just makes us look retarded. And it also makes us susceptible to strikes like that by Rafinha. Could Courtois have done better? Possibly. I think long shots like that in the Premier League, well, basically in any game that's on a decent pitch, that's not a goal. But because the pitch was terrible, really, really bad pitch, I think those sort of shots are always going to be a bit more likely to go in because it's going to bobble. But yeah, I thought positionally we were terrible in the first half in regards to the... To be fair, I'm a believer of you defend, you attack and defend together. Attackers defend as well. So, it should be... If we have a poor performance like that, where we're 3-0 down, you have to look at people like Willian and Boga and say, you're not covering well enough, and they weren't. And I think wingers have to, in big games, in against big teams, they have to drop back. If we're going to play the 3-4-3 in a big game, which I don't necessarily think is the best option, we'll talk about that in a minute, they've got to drop back those wingers almost to make it a 4-5-1, almost to make it a 5-4-1. It's almost got to become a 5-4-1. Otherwise, there's just too many numbers in midfield, and we're overrun there. The problem was Boga and Willian both weren't tracking back enough. They were both losing it, meaning we were getting countered on. And you would think to yourself, right, okay, that's not great, but, you still got Moses and Alonso there, but they were fucking bombing up the field as well, as if we were playing fucking, I don't know, strawberries, as Hazard would say, in the fucking League Cup. They were bombing forward past the halfway line. As soon as we lost the ball, we were down to that 3 at the back. We had Cahill, Christensen back. It was really, really, really poor. Christensen, I don't think was that bad today. I don't think he's to put him in middle of centre back. I think was a mistake. He should be left centre back, in my opinion. The back 3. Cahill was awful in the first half. Positionally terrible. Alonso positionally was horrific. Constantly up the field. They nearly were 3-0 up at one point. 2-0. They had a massive chance. I think it's James Rodriguez who had a chance. Alonso was nowhere to be seen. It was just horrific. I think it was a second goal. The second Müller goal. It might have been the third goal. Again, Christensen and Cahill backing off. Müller just thought, well, fuck it, I'm going to shoot, and curled it round Courtois. So Azpilicueta made a mistake for one of the goals as well, and that's very, very rare for him. It was just a poor performance. And, I was sitting there thinking to myself, we're missing something, and we're missing that David Luiz. I think people don't seem to give him enough credit for just how much organisation he does, organisationally, how important he is to the team, how he can, I know sometimes he's notorious for making mistakes, but not necessarily as much last season, but he just gives that something extra to the team. It makes it such a better shape. And it was clear in the second half, Conte had said to Moses and Alonso, you need to friggin' stay, in a reasonable position. Don't fucking bomb forward, for fuck's sake. And the problem we had is it wasn't like one was bombing forward and one was staying back. See, that's okay, because you can always then switch back into a full-back. Say Moses bombs forward, you can switch as in Azpilicueta then becomes the right back, Christensen becomes the the centre back. Cahill's another centre back, and then you've got Alonso drops in and almost becomes like a left back. See, that's not a problem. And I'm not saying we switch to a 4, but you know what I mean. In play, you kind of, while they're counter attacking, switch into that 4 tuck in. But it weren't happening. It wasn't happening because both were bombing forward. Second half is exactly what we saw, and we saw them not bombing forward as much. Willian was giving the ball away miles too much for me. Boga was giving the ball. Well, Boga wasn't really giving the ball away, but Boga seems to me I like Boga, but the problem with him is he's very direct, but he is missing the passing, the shooting, the crossing. He's missing that decision making. He's also missing defensively. And Hazard, it has, you know, limitations defensively. But what Hazard does do is usually, dare I say it, I know there has been occasions, I've got a fucking image and video going on in my mind now when Hazard did exactly what Boga did today. Alonso went and committed and engaged. I can't remember who it was, but he engaged with the Bayern Munich player, and Boga was standing right behind him. And you just thought to yourself, Alonso's going to engage here. The Bayern Munich player is going to play it to his teammate, who is then going to play it back to him because he's going to run because Alonso's facing the wrong way. And obviously, that guy is going to have, it's going to be so much easier for him. If you see what I'm saying, Alonso's facing the wrong way. So the player, let's just say it was James Rodriguez, probably wasn't, is able to just going to run past Alonso because Alonso's got to turn and then run. So there's no chance. What Boga should have seen is fuck the pass that he's going to make there. He's going to make that anyway. He's miles too. Boga wasn't close enough to intercept that pass. What he had to think was, right, I need to cover Alonso here. So I need to tuck in behind Alonso, give a couple of yards. So when that ball is played back, I can intercept it and stop James Rodriguez's run. He didn't do that. And it meant that Boga just stood still. Alonso was standing still anyway because that's how he's defending. Not a problem. Right from Alonso. Boga should have been able to cover him, and he didn't. And that's a problem because it then meant that they were in. They got the cross in. Luckily, it wasn't a goal, but it could have happened. And that happened too much in the first half. It wasn't just Boga. Willian did the same. And Moses was horrific. I really just... The guy's completely brain dead. It's as simple as that. He's a brain dead footballer. Kante and Fabregas struggled in midfield. They were outnumbered. And they were outnumbered by definition. There were more Bayern Munich defenders. That's why I think in big games... I mean, I don't necessarily think it would have been as bad if it would have been Kante and Bakayoko. I think that would have been okay. I think it would have been okay. But because Fabregas isn't as defensively minded, I think you've got a problem there. Now, if you want to play Fabregas in a big game, that's fine, but you've got to play the 3-5-2. And when we played the 3-5-2, we looked a hell of a lot more defensively solid. So if we're playing big games and we want to play Fabregas, that's fine, but we have to sacrifice one of the wingers. And that's just something we've got to accept, really. 3-4-3 with a Fabregas and Kante midfield against top sides, certainly in Europe, is not going to work. It might work against Arsenal because I don't necessarily think they're a top side. And I'm not throwing shots at Arsenal, but in the way that they play, they don't necessarily play the way a top side plays. I know you're thinking, what the fuck? But they like to pass. They like to... Look, I can't really describe what I'm saying. It's impossible to describe, but they aren't really a top side. What I'm talking about, a top side, in the Premier League, you've probably got one in Man City, possibly Tottenham, maybe even Man United. They would be people that I'd say, right, we've got to play that 3-5-2 and make sure we've got 3 midfielders. In Europe, you got the Bayern Munich, you got the Real Madrid, the Barcelonas, the PSGs, the Atletico Madrids. I could go on. They are when you need to play this 3-5-2. Look, as I say, 3-4-3 is not going to work. It might work with Bakayoko Kante, but I'd still be apprehensive with it. And as I say, it doesn't mean you've got to sacrifice Fabregas. You don't have to. You just simply have to play the 3-5-2. When Morata came on, I thought he was fantastic. His link-up play, his first touch, his intelligence, you could see it straight away. I've criticised the guy. I haven't watched him play all that much. And I've criticised him a lot of the things because I jumped on the bandwagon with criticising him. And as I said before, because I wanted other targets at the time. But I'm happy we've got him now, and I think he'll be a really, really good player. Didn't score today, so I haven't got to change my hat on Twitter. But he was very, very intelligent, making some intelligent runs. Fitness looked pretty good, actually, to be fair. And I think the more minutes he gets will be good. And I think he'll score some goals for us this season. But he also gives more than just goals. He gives the team that little bit added extra and that little bit something different. I was very, very impressed with him today. And yeah, I thought, although, he didn't get much time in regards to he only got about 20, 25 minutes, he did a very good job in the time that he got. And his first touch, etc., is very, very good. He's not like Romeo or Lukaku. But yeah, I mean, frustrating. But as I say, second half much better, and we've shown that mentality that we've got with Conte. No doubt, Conte ripped into him in the first half interval and said, this is fucking unacceptable. Pre-season or not, this is unacceptable. Alonso and Moses certainly were a lot more. What's the word? A lot more, not restricted, disciplined. A lot better disciplined in the second half in regards to positioning. Alonso, great finish at the end of the first half. And, I still rate the guy. I just do think wing-backs are our weak point. And I think against Bayern Munich and Real Madrid, Moses and Marcus Alonso's not good enough. Alexandro and, another right wing back, and I think even if you've got another right wing back that's better than we need options there. They're not going to be good enough together in the Champions League. And the thing is, Alonso has the ability to become a better player, and if you bring in somebody like Alexandro who knows what they're doing, positionally would be a lot better. He can improve Marcus Alonso, because that's the one area of the game that I think he's really lacking. I think going forward he's very, very good. Finishing wise, I think he's better than Alexandro. I'm going to say that right now. Finishing the ball wise, he's got a better strike. It's not to say he's a better player in any way, but you know what I mean. Attacking, he's very good. It's that positioning sense defensively. It's not a problem at home against Bournemouth, at home against Stoke, at home against Watford. It's a problem, though, away at Tottenham, away at Manchester City. So he's got to work on that positioning, and he can be a decent player. As for Moses, I'm struggling with him, if I'm honest with you guys. He's rash, he's reckless, he's out of position all the time. He seems to have a lack of just wanting to get back into position. It's all very, sometimes, yeah, it's always going to happen. With wing-backs, they're going to push forward. Even if playing 3-5-2, they're going to lose the ball and they're going to be in shit streak. And it's going to happen every now and again. But it's about whether that player has the intent, whether he has the want to fucking get back into position. Moses just doesn't seem to. He seems to be jogging and walking back. It's just simply not good enough. So, yeah, I mean, it was a frustrating game in many respects, but second half, very, very good, I have to say. We came out, we looked like a team that really wanted to change things up. Good goal from Alonso on half-time, that was big. Disappointed we couldn't get that Michy Batshuayi goal a little bit earlier, because I think we might have sent that game to penalty shootout. Michy Batshuayi with another goal. He was poor today, I'm going to be honest with you. He was poor. In regards to his link-up was poor. So, yeah, I mean, if I had to give man of the match, it's difficult, really. Oh, my God, though, David Luiz, when he came on, wow. He really is a player. He is a baller. He is a player. You could see him shouting orders, organising the team. He should be the captain for me. Look, we looked so much more solid when he came on. What I would like to see in pre-season, possibly in the Milan game, there's only fucking pre-season game left, I suppose, is I'd like to see Christensen left centre-back, David Luiz centre-back, and either Rudiger right centre-back or Azpilicueta. And if you're thinking, well, where's Azpilicueta go? Put him on the right wing-back position. Fuck Moses. Let's start Azpilicueta and let's just see what he does. Because maybe in bigger games, that's going to be a bit of a better option. Because there's one thing that Azpilicueta won't do is bomb forward. And in the first half, so many times we're caught out on the counter. Well, if we'd had Azpilicueta right wing-back, then it would have been okay. Yes, you're sacrificing something going forward. I get that. But Moses going forward isn't great anyway. He can go past a man, but he seems to overdo it. Too many touches, and his crosses are poor anyway. So for me, that's something we need to look at. But anyway, back to what I was saying. David Luiz was fantastic when he came on. We've got to look at him possibly in the midfield as well this season, as another option there. Look, at the end of the day, we're having a good window, but I think this game's proved we do need some more signings. We need a backup third striker. Not that this game really proved that, but we do. We need a backup third striker because I think we're going to be playing 3-5-2 a little bit more than you think this season. And when I say 3-5-2, why we need 3, not 4? Some people say we need 4 strikers. I disagree. We need 3 for the simple reason that Eden Hazard can play the second striker without a shadow of doubt. Not a problem whatsoever. So I'm not worried about that. So we only need another, I don't know, Llorente. That's who I want anyway. I know people go, Llorente's shit. But anyway, I like Llorente. I think he'd be a good third choice striker. And I'm not saying he's not going to sacrifice Michy Batshuayi time. Michy Batshuayi gets games this season. Don't worry about that. We can't go into 3, 4, 5 competitions with fucking Michy Batshuayi and Morata as our only 2 strikers if we're going to play 3-5-2. It isn't going to work. Even if it's 3-4-3, you're leaving yourself short. And I know you're going, well, look how many games Michy Batshuayi got last season, and he was second choice. That was different. We played 4-3, we played 3-4-3, and we only had the Premier League really to worry about because we were out of the League Cup early on, and the FA Cup, to be fair, we were in for quite a long time. But fixture congestion wasn't really a problem at all last year. It will be this year. We could play 3-4 games we could play up to probably 8 games in a month. That Morata's not going to be able to play every single game, even if we're playing the 3-4-3. So, yeah, I think we need that. I think we need a right wing back. I'd like to see Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. I think he's English, he's homegrown, he's versatile. He can play that right wing back position. We can certainly develop him into a decent player there. And he can also play centre mid. Sergio Roberto's been thrown about. I wouldn't mind that, but he's not somebody I'd want. And Alexandro, really. I want a left back, and if not him, then Ryan Bertrand. We've got to bring in competition there. We really, really have. Leave your stand at the comments below on this game if you did watch it, and just your thoughts in general. Don't get carried away. Don't go into meltdown about the first half, etc. It shows our weaknesses, and I'd rather we saw our weaknesses in games like this rather than away at Arsenal like what happened last season. Although that was really important, And look how important it is. When stuff goes wrong in the past with Conte, think about when stuff's gone wrong. That Arsenal game, he changed it and look what happened. This is a manager who will, when something goes wrong, will rectify it. Even in the Manchester United Crystal Palace, when we had that little bad run at the end of the season, rectify it, we went on a great run towards the end of the season. That is what he does. This is what Conte did. He needed to see where the weak points were. The board needed to see, look, these wing-backs need competition. They're simply not good enough. We need more depth. We need more options. And I think that's what we've done. 3-2. Good again to come back in the second half. Shows a good mentality. And, if we get Bayern Munich in the Champions League at any point this season, they will have in the back of their mind, even if they go 1-2-0 up, and I know it's pre-season, but they have in the back of their mind, this team we know can come back. We've got to be careful here. And Bayern Munich should know. We beat them in the Champions League final. Didier Drogba, that's all I need to say. Thanks for watching. I'll be back for a pre-season review of the Inter Milan game. And then it's on to the Community Shield against Arsenal. And then guess what? It's Burnley in the Prem. The Premier League is fast approaching. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.